I was just in this field here a couple of minutes ago. I had to get out in a hurry because what I didn't realise is I went in the field and there's a lot of bulls lying down in this field in long grass and you can't see them from where you go in. And I got about halfway in the field with my dogs, Guy and Phoebe. And then these bulls stood up and I realised that there was maybe a dozen in there, young ones with fairly sizable horns. So I thought I'd better get out of there because the cows and bulls do attack people, particularly if they've got dogs apparently. So I started making my way towards the gate, in a fairly orderly fashion, and I got about halfway back to safety, and I just saw something move at the corner. It was this side actually. Saw something move at the corner of my eye, and I'd like to say I thought it was a bull, but I didn't actually. I didn't have time to think it was a bull. I just got the bodily responses as if it was a bull or as if it was a threat. Sudden wave of panic, or a wave of arousal really, rather than panic. I mean, as it was, it turned out it was one of the dogs actually, so it was pointless. But either way, it certainly felt like it. But as I say, I got this wave of arousal before I recognised what it really was. I certainly didn't check. But the pattern of arousal was weird, because I imagine what's happening there is there's a perceived threat. It sends that information to your adrenal system, something like that. Adrenaline or whatever the chemicals get shot into various parts of your body. And that sets your arousal mechanism in operation, preparing you to either fight or flight, and probably I would imagine, doing things like, withdrawing blood from your skin, so that you're less likely to bleed to death if you get gored. Probably sending something to your muscles to enable them to respond more quickly. Probably sending something to your bowels. I guess if I'd been really scared, I'd probably have shit myself. It's doing all that kind of stuff. It's a script it's following, I recognise that. And my feeling, that wave of either panic or arousal coming over me, is the felt correlate to that set of biochemical arousal signals produced, as I imagine, by the adrenal system. But there was something quite interesting about that, which is that, I don't really know how these things work on a detailed level, but if I'd been invited to think about that, I would have imagined it working so that the arousal would start wherever these chemicals are shot into your bloodstream, wherever they're shot into your circulatory systems of various sorts. But that wasn't how I experienced it actually. I actually experienced it from the nearest point to where I thought the bull was. You know what I mean? The wave, it was a distinct wave that swept over me, and I'm sure many people have had that. The wave that swept over me started on this side of my body and swept this way. You know what I mean? It swept this way. Which is a bit odd really. Maybe it's not odd, but I hadn't thought about it before. I'm guessing what's happening there, and it's purely speculation, is I'm guessing that this arousal mechanism is correlating information from the visual systems about where the threat lies, you know what I mean? Because I've seen it at the corner of my eye, so presumably some information is going to my visual cortex and doing some stuff using the where system, but not the what system. Because I think I'm right in saying the visual cortex has got like a kind of a where system and a what system, so it identifies things for what they are, but also quite separately identifies exactly where they are and what shape they are. So my where system is kicking in, joining forces with the adrenal system, presumably is coordinating and customizing the adrenal response, the adrenaline response, to serve to be most optimal in that situation. And since the threat was on the left hand side, just back a bit, that's the most likely place it's going to get damaged first. That's where the most aggressive threat lies. If it was a bull, and if it had charged me, that's the bit of my body which would be bleeding and broken right now, or most likely. So it feels to me like the body has coordinated its responses to send to send its activity to the part that needs it most, and then it's kind of propagating out from that point, I assume, which I'm experiencing as a wave of kind of adrenaline arousal sweeping from my left hand side across my body. It's really distinct actually. I felt it go right across my scalp like that, and then right across my shoulders, across here, and the same thing across my back. Brilliant.